welcome along, guys, to another episode of 420 News, brought to you by myself, Martin Connon, and Martin's World. Hope everybody's good out there, guys. Welcome along to another edition of the show. It is Monday, start of a new week. Hope everybody had a good weekend and nobody got into trouble with the old popo for our old favourite herb. I see Podge is out there in the chat. Who else is out there as well? We started the stream quick today. I have to actually teach both Thai boxing classes this evening, so I'll have to make sure that I'm actually off on time this evening. I won't be able to linger around into the later hours of the show as I normally would. But nonetheless, we'll get through it. We'll get it done in time, and we'll get all our training done as well. Nice one there, Irish as well, getting the old hosting one over there on Twitch. Legend as always. Just grinding up some herbs here, guys, so apologies about the noise in the background. Ooh-wee. You can't not just like grind a bud and then stick your nose into it afterwards. Like, it's you have to do it, like. Oh, I think it's time we change the gauze actually as well in this bowl. We'll give everybody a couple of more seconds to join into the show before we get cracking on today's news. We see Fuge France. Is this an imposter of our buddy Monsieur? Or is he rebranding? Is that you, Monsieur? Who else is out there? We have JJ Smokehouse. What's up? Let's get stoned. Nice. Yes, let's do that. Gonna change the gauze there on my bowl just so I can have a fresher hit. Oh. Boom, 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 boom. Savage. Who else is out there? You have Podges in the audience as well. Hope everyone is well and safe, Podge says. Yes, indeedy. Mark Andrew, what's happening? Mark Andrew out there as well. Martin Horgan's in the audience. We have Green Tea's in the audience. Much appreciated for those messages there over the weekend. Green Tea. Look forward to getting to chat with you there as well soon on the podcast. We have Bogwan Sun out there as well. Dan Jackson, Irish Hemp Harvest. Miss Stowes, and yeah, is it you, Fudge? Come on, is that has to be you? Right, we have the bowl getting packed up here now. Nice. Oh, yes. Stuck the gauze in deep so I can pack it deep. Dan Jackson, what's the strain? Some need more smelling than others. Dead right there, you're spot on. This is Critical Kush, courtesy of a friend of mine who does a little bit of growing on the side, supports the show, and I support me buddy as well. So yes, it's a good little circle there that we have going. Pack it up, pack it in, and inhale. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So we're going to blaze it on up, guys. You know the tune. It's the tune of the 420 News. Little the music of civil disobedience. So here we go. Hopefully you're all ready to join me out there as well. If you've already, you're all probably well more ahead of me now at this stage. And there we go. Oh yes, that was tasty. Oh, Kieran C, not too long now before his dosey dose will be ready. Nice. Enjoy that, Kieran. I've definitely tried that once before. Not a friend's growing. It was sent over from the States, and it was tasty. That's what I can remember anyway. Excuse me. Anybody else? And after missing out there, Hype is in the audience as well. What's happening, Hype? Welcome to the show. How was the tester, Podge? So, well, Podge, how was it? How was it, Podge? He says, oh yeah, it was alright, Hype, but be a bit better when cured and all. Yeah, you can't rush it. Like, you know, when you think about it when you're growing the herb, It takes like, let's say, a minimum 3 months from seed to finish, let's say. And you get to that finish line, where you think would be the finish line. You get the harvest day, then you dry it, then you stick it into the jar. It's not quite done yet. Like, if you could just hold off like for that extra week or two even, just to give it that bit of time in the jar, you'll really appreciate the difference there. And isn't it worth it? If you're after waiting 3 months already to get to the stage where you're putting it into the jar, like, is it really that much more to ask for? Just 2 weeks more? But yeah, I've definitely been there as well. As soon as it goes into the jar, it's fair game. The 37 crowns on. Oh, nice. You're almost there. Halfway, is it? Like a 56-day crop, there about 64 days, give or take. Who else is out there? Serenables after joining in as well. Podge, Raj, and Hype. And JJ Smokehouse is saying, always check your trikes with a 30x loop. Yes, a jeweler's loop is all you really need there. Even though some of the jeweler's loops normally only they do like a 5 and a 20 in combination normally. That's kind of the common one. But yeah, if you could get your hands on something about a 30x as well, that would definitely do the trick. But yeah, always check your trikes, alright. Don't be going with what it says on the seed packet. You see that all the time. It's like seed to harvest or whatever, like flowering time, 8 weeks, 56 days. But it's not always the case. Sometimes, it can go a little bit longer. Sometimes it might actually be like a little bit quicker. But yeah, you can always get difference in genetics there. Yeah, JJ Smokehouse also saying that if your phone has a decent camera, that works too. But you have to have a steady hand, or else maybe a little tripod or of some kind or something like that. But yeah, trying to get a steady photo when you're zoomed in that close with the camera is a bit of a pain in the balls. So right, guys, it seems like we got a generous enough audience out there anyway. And we're after getting to say hello to everybody who's got their comments in there. And I see Keith O'Leary out there liking, Brian McNamara as well. So it's good to see people liking and sharing the stream there as well, guys. Much appreciated. Let's drive on with today's 420 news. Podge85 says, I got a 60X and it only cost €10 free delivery in Ireland on eBay. Man, do people actually still buy stuff on eBay? Fair play, Podge. I thought that site was just, I don't know, I always see it come up and I have to do the search again to exclude it because there's never really anything good on it. Like, but look, Podge got a nice 60X jeweler's loop. Happy days. Right, let's drop on with the news. So the first headline I have for you today, guys, is the major protest. Yes, the major protest is back up and running, and we've got a little bit of short notice for you, but look, nonetheless, notice to be given here is 5 days. So on this day, or on Saturday this week, we're going to be out again marching for cannabis reform in Ireland, to end the oppression of our community and to remove cannabis from the Misuse of Drugs Act in order to end the prohibition of the plant once and for all. So many people suffering as a result of this prohibition all over Ireland, from all walks of life. You've got patients who, for no fault of their own, are not able to get access to cannabis because the ministers in charge won't write the license or the consultants they have won't apply for a license from the minister for them, or else they're too afraid to go get it off the black market. So then they're suffering away as a result. Then you've other people who are suffering, getting caught, with a little bit of cannabis, their whole future then jeopardized because they're going to receive potentially a criminal conviction, much like I did myself, and therefore end up, not being able to get as nice a jobs as you should have for the hard work you've done in other places in your life, such as myself. I've got an honours degree in herbal science, and still, nonetheless, it's difficult to get a job in any of the industries here because you have a criminal conviction and you're outspoken on the issue that's afflicting you in your life. So it makes life difficult. So yes, guys, on the 18th of September, 2 p.m, gathering at the Garden of Remembrance in Dublin. And then we're going to go from there and we're going to march on the Dáil. And at the Dáil then we'll be holding a number of speakers, one of which will include myself. We'll also have Tom Curran, Mark Jenkins. Tom Curran is a campaigner for medical cannabis, but also probably more prominently known for the Right to Die, campaigned alongside his wife, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie Fleming, I believe is her surname, and she suffered with multiple sclerosis, I believe it was, and was unable to take her own life. And Tom campaigned for a long time in order to for Marie to have the right to, call the end to her own life and to do so in a controlled fashion, with the help of the professionals out there. But while all this was going on, Tom was also growing and administering medical cannabis to his wife because it was very beneficial for her. So Tom will be talking a little bit about that. Mark Jenkins, then the owner of Relief, who we were out protesting for only 2 weeks ago, who's had his store and home raided over 10 times. So he'll also be speaking there today, or there on the day, highlighting again, as to how the prohibition of cannabis has caused undue suffering on himself, and he supports the call for cannabis to be removed from the Misuse of Drugs Act too. There's other speakers there to be confirmed on the before the day. So hopefully it'll be a very good day. It'll be great to hear from Gino Kenny on the day, maybe even Luke Flanagan if they were to come down and contribute. Maybe even Stephen Donnelly or Frank Fian, maybe they'd come down too, but I wouldn't hold my breath in those two. At least some hope on the first two I mentioned, Luke and Gino, but Frank and Stevie, not a hope. So guys, I hope you can make it. I hope it's not too short a notice for people out there. We've been known that this is going to be announced. We were hoping it would have been announced sooner, but there we go. There it is now. So please get it into your calendar, get it into your diary. Try your best if that time is already allotted to something. See if you can get a swap in work if at all possible. And look, if you try and you can't, just share the hell out of it across social media. Tell friends, tell family, get talking about it. If you can, even if you've got the time, just send a little piece into your own local media station, whether it be the radio, whether it be the local newspaper. Send in your own little opinion piece as to why you support this event and why the media should cover. Give a little article on it. Every little help, every little thing anybody can do right now will help this event. So get whatever you can do, guys. But the most important thing is to show up on the day. So yes, I'll leave that up for a couple of more seconds. We see what everybody's saying out there. Martin Horgan, Boardwalk Empire is a good example of the consequences of prohibition. Poison products for profit and small-time gangsters getting massive like Al Capone et al. Martin Horgan, yeah, I highly agree with you there. I watched Boardwalk Empire at a time when I was working in the grow shop actually here in Cork. I can remember it was quite enough sometimes in there, so you might get to watch an episode or two in a day. It was handy enough. But yeah, definitely that episode really highlighted the effects of prohibition as the how it corrupted all walks of life, from the politicians who were supposedly supporting this prohibition, but at the same time they were bootlegging in the back as well, Yeah, I thought that was a really good TV show, prime example as to how prohibition is a toxic policy to be enforced in our society around the consumption of drugs. Green tea, €16 on AliExpress. I'll DM you a link on Twitter. So the guys are all trading there for the jewelry loops, is it? Yeah, that's for the microscope that connects to your phone via the USB, and it works pretty great. Green tea says. I've seen those actually as well. Yeah, they get up to like 100x or something like that. Something crazy. Really cool. All right. Really super useful for the growers out there. Mark Andrews says, can't get anything here without shaking the red hand. That's why I'm with it out. Oh man, that's unfortunate to hear. Hopefully maybe your circumstances change and maybe you can start growing your own in time to come, Mark. But yeah, fair play for not being tempted to go out there and shake the old red hand anyway. And how many people are doing it and not knowing they're doing it? Daily Talker saying, giving a shout out to my Stowaways and Podge. I saw was saying I had a big envelope ripped open and anything valuable taken out. Pretty sure it wasn't AliExpress though, just someone on the way. Uplift on the ball too. TD's being contacted. Nice. I'll be covering the uplift piece there as well later on in the show. Skitana still waiting on my 60x 100x loop from AliExpress. I don't think it'll come anymore. It's just when you're going to lose hope, Skitana, it's going to arrive. Do you know, just when you think it's lost and it's never arriving, it's going to be just like, oh, what's this package? 6 months later. What's going on out there, Hazmat? Hope you're well. And Daily Talker is just on the way home from the traineeship. Hope that's going good for you there, Daily Talker. Right, guys, we drive on to the next headline. So, again, just before we go, 18th September, guys, 2 p.m, Garden Remembrance. Be there, be square. The next headline, guys, Joshua Allen. I was covering these stories, was it last week only? Again, he was back up in court for the 260 euros worth of cocaine, and where he was found guilty of it. But he's back in the media again, and this time again, and it was because, you know, himself and other members of his club were down in Limerick on Saturday, and I was actually due to attend, but I never made it down there myself. Just got caught up with family affairs, but fair play to all the lads who took part down there. But again, you know, the media taking their opportunity to picking the poor young lad. Like this is like just blatant bullying now at this stage. All right, the young fella made a mistake in his past. He bought in a bit of weed, and you know, he's truly paid the price for it. He's already been to prison. He's gotten away with a suspended sentence now, and you know, they're constantly every opportunity they get. They're just bringing his story back up again. This time, you know, he was down competing over the weekend, took part in a K1 fight, and well done, he won his fight alongside his teammates there. But again, it's like an amateur sport. This is rarely ever covered by the media, and his story has been covered just only because he got caught with a bit of cannabis and cocaine. All right, a bit. He got caught with a kilo worth, like. But in fairness, like, you know, look at the circumstances. He paid about $2,000 for that weed, and it was arrived in over post. Like $2,000. In fairness, like, you know, if like he's coming from a well-to-do family, so $2,000 is probably easier to come by for himself than it is for me. And he could have been just bulk buying. I'll get a kilo there, get it sent in once because it's just easier, less hassle. And sure, if my buddies need a bit, I might sort them out as well because, you know, I'll be sound about it, like. But, you know, it's just terrible that he's constantly being dragged through the media time and time again, trying to get on with his life, doing well with himself. And meanwhile, you compare it to this headline. This headline here, where a prominent Irish politician won't be charged over an alleged alcohol thefts from a petrol station. This is apparently a prominent Irish politician who's well known, has been in the media, in the national media, multiple times over the years. And he was caught not once but twice going into a petrol station and stealing bottles of alcohol. He was caught in CCTV, like, you know, there was no denying what he had done. But still, he's not being charged, and also he's not after being named. So compare that, like, you know, a politician, somebody who's expected to do good, who really should be an example of an upstanding citizen in society, versus, you know, the young son of a celebrity chef. Like what's expected of Joshua? He's just literally, like, his mom is a chef. Like, this guy is a politician. He truly should know better. Why is he not being named and shamed? Why is Joshua, every time he does anything good with his life, you know, is being reminded of the mistakes he's made in his past? You know, give the guy a fucking break, like, in fairness, like, and name and shame these scumbags. Do you know that these are the true guys who really need to be named and shamed, because they're after wrecking our bloody country. Do you know, they're after creating a situation where Joshua Allen can get into that kind of a predicament where it's just easy enough for him to buy in so much cannabis and then get caught and then pasted in the media as such a bad person, you know. It's just sickening. It just really annoys me. It annoyed me last week when I seen it again. You know, there was like 7 of the different media companies just, you know, Josh Allen. You know, and it's just like, geez, give the guy a break. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, you know, the prominent politician, you won't even name him. Scumbags. So yeah, that's just my opinion there on that whole fiasco. Like, I hope that they don't enact that charge against Josh. I hope they don't send him back to prison. The dude is doing well in life. See him down in the gym there, like happy out, like training away with all these teammates down there as well. Look, we're all only human. Like, if cocaine was to be legal, like, would he be a bad person? Like, just leave him alone. Like, in fairness, like the policies are wrong. And that's the problem in society. It's not that people like Josh are bad. It's just the policies are wrong. Imagine if we were to turn around in the morning and make alcohol and tobacco illegal, and anybody who consume or possesses them now is also liable for the same kind of treatment here that Joshua gets. That your name could be highlighted in the media. You know, it's just wrong. It is, like, no matter what. I can't see anybody who can make a proper argument for it. If you can, get in touch. Change my mind. Little new campaign I'll be setting off on there in the city very soon, so I'll say no more. But we go from one Joshua, guys, to another Joshua, and this next one is get the tissues ready, I guess, guys. This is a warning for you if you're out there. This was shared to me there earlier by members of the Cannabis Activist Alliance through the chat that we have up there on Facebook. This video was brought to my attention. It's highlighting the case of young Joshua who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. I'm just going to move that over there, and I'll get his video up there now in 1 second. But Joshua's, I believe it's his parents, his mom is recording videos of him from a young age. And she kind of shows him progress into the condition that we know as autism, and then also kind of come away the symptoms lessening with the administration of cannabis in the form of a CBD oil made by an Irish company, I believe, Green Heart CBD, I think it's called. But I'll pop this up on screen now, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, cover it up myself as well, because I believe it's worth it. So this is the Instagram page. Whoops. I'll pause that 1 second. This is the Instagram page. It's called Molly and Joshua, and it's it's following the story of 2 young kids with autism and other difficulties there as well. So I'm Joshua. Hopefully the music doesn't get me pulled.
Have you a kissy? Hey, so nice, Joshua? Yeah. Say hi, yeah. Say hello. Say hello on the phone. Give her a big kiss. Big kiss for Molly. Joshua? Joshua? Hey, Joshua?
Go on. Come on. Joshua, come here. Look. Come on this way.
Are you eating my yum-yums, Joshua? Hi. Hi, Joshua. Having fun? Yeah? Good boy. Let's see, Mommy. Show Mommy. Joshua, look, Mommy. Here. Oh no! You have to ease it. Ah. Oh, lovely kisses. True. Joshua. I love you. Joshua, what are you? You're a toy. What are you doing in that toy basket? Are you a toy? Yeah. What type of toy are you? A big toy? Thursday.
And Tuesday.
And Saturday.
Saturday.
And
Sunday.
And what's your favourite day?
Wednesday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
So there you go, guys. If you want to find that video, I see one or two people asking out there, but it was at the end of the video as well. But Molly and Joshua was the page. It's over on Instagram. So if you want to go check that one out. But guys, like, if there's anything to motivate you to get out and protest on Saturday, it should be that. In fairness, like, because when you think about it, really, the prohibition of cannabis, it's after hindering the research so much that we really just don't know the mechanisms that are being activated there or in play to help people like that. Because I believe I seen, was it Tahi said it there, autism, do you know, it's a spectrum is kind of how they say it, isn't it? But there's all different types of autism, and what will work for one person might not work for the other, and we need to know why, and we need to be able to identify who it will work for and get it to them pronto. This medicine, like, compared to some of the other medications that they might have these kids on, like CBD oil, like if that's what they're using there, the CBD, the Green Heart CBD oil, has a minimal amount of THC, if any at all, I would imagine. And you can see that difference there. So that's an incredible achievement to be able to make with just CBD alone. And still, yet today in Ireland, the industry is hindered. People like Mark at Relief, people like JP and Ada over at Little Collins, they're still being raided and targeted by the authorities here in Ireland. Our farmers here in Ireland are still not able to grow this plant to the fullest of their ability. Like, we're restricted in the types of hemp that they're able to grow. Like, we're not even able to grow plants that have higher amounts of CBD in them, because they might have a little bit more THC in them. It's a complete joke. The research, it needs to be done. We need to investigate this more. We need to understand who this will help and how. And it needs to be done pronto, really. So Saturday, guys, make sure you get out there, show your support, because that's just one of the many reasons to get out there and protest. This prohibition has done a lot over the years, but probably one of the worst things, in my opinion, that it's done. It's the hindering of the research into the medicinal and I suppose industrial applications of this plant. The medicinal more than anything, but also, you know, the industrial, when you kind of see the direction our planet is heading at the moment, with this kind of this warning that's going off, like globally, you know, it's not good, and you have to wonder, you know, how much damage was done as a result of this prohibition of cannabis. All right, we drive on anyway, because Judge Sod, he's at it again. Yes, he is. Judge Sean O'Donovan, our buddy up pal, he's making today's news because of a case he resided over there recently. And this is a case where a drunken man beat his wife for several hours, and also attempted to murder her in the process of this. This guy, like, pinned his wife's head down. I should have gave fucking a warning actually before going into this. But this is a horrible case, resided over by, again, as I say, Sean O'Donovan, pictured there. Just make that a little bit smaller. But it's a convicted murderer as well. This individual pictured here, Marius Ruckens-Gas, he's a convicted murderer. He spent 15 years in prison, I believe it was, over in, where did he come over to here from, over to Ireland from? I think it was Slovakia or somewhere like that. But anyway, this guy, after serving 15 years in prison, he gets released. He comes to Ireland. He ends up with this unfortunate lady. And after a night out at Christmas, after a Christmas party, they get into a bit of a fight, and this dude proceeded to beat the crap out of her, tear lumps of hair out of her and everything, pushed her face down onto the mattress of the bed, tried to suffocate her. Horrible stuff. And Judge Sean O'Donovan, he took sympathy on the individual. He gave him an 18-month suspended sentence, taking into consideration that the guy who'd been held in custody, I believe, was for 12 months he was held in custody. So he got to walk free from the court effectively after this case. Take into consideration, you know, the finding of another case where a Polish man, a young lad, caught with €600,000 worth of cannabis. Like, okay, a significant amount of cannabis. This guy's gone to jail for 5 years under the watch of Judge Sean O'Donovan, you know. So just like compared the two of them, you know, what woman out there wants to be bait? What woman out there wants to have lumps of hair torn out of her head, be pinned on her mattress with her face down, you know, to the point where she thinks that her life is going to end, that you know, she's been pushed that far into the suffocating, versus the crime of a person who brings over some cannabis, you know. Anybody who buys that cannabis, they want it, you know. It's a mutual beneficial exchange. There's nothing mutually beneficial about a hiding off of your partner. And where's you know, is that right? That this is our taxpayers' money at work. Like, this is how these guys are keeping people safe, you know, because that's the mission of the Gardaí, keep us safe. Who do you feel safer if they were behind bars? This poor young lad who, at the time when I brought up this case, 22-year-old, high potential here, that this guy was a victim of his circumstance, probably a young lad, you know, maybe not able to get by over, was offered an opportunity to make more cash than he could have ever made in a short period of time by just driving a little bit of cannabis herb across international borders there over to Ireland, versus the crime of the other guy who beats women, in drunken rages and is a convicted murderer. Like, who are they keeping us safe for? Right? It's messed up. Like, it's just so fucking backwards. Like, the justice system in this country needs a serious overhaul. We're releasing people who are violent, known murderers, and meanwhile we're locking up people when their only crime really is to engage in the trade of illegal drugs. And a lot of the time, the end user is actually consenting. They want the substance. It's the problem is the policymakers. The policymakers are failing on both ends. They're not taking care of the vulnerable people out there, who are taken advantage of, because of their economic situation, or whether it be because of their vulnerable situation when they end up being a drug addict. But it's messed up, 4 years or 5 years for trafficking cannabis, and you get to walk basically free from court for beating your wife practically to death. Great old country we have here in Ireland. Well done, Judge Sean O'Donovan. So we drive on from there, guys, because I might get in trouble if I stay on this one for too long, because I might say some nasty things about that individual on my screen. Patients and their carers shouldn't have to email journalists while caring full-time and having to grow their own medicine. They're telling us we don't matter. That's how a lot of people feel out there, right, Green Tea, that their government doesn't care for them at the moment, and it's unfortunate. Because you're not alone in that situation. Not standing up for Joshua and the other kids is injustice. That's coming in from Barryfield Battle Clips. Definitely, it is. I don't know how these politicians sleep at night. At the click of a pen, literally, they could click that pen, put the pen to the paper, and they change it. They can make it so much more accessible and end so much suffering, and really get us on the pathway to a more prosperous future. Where we can stimulate our economies, our local communities more favourably, and our Gardaí can police our streets more effectively, because they can actually go after the criminals now, and not just people who are engaged in some form of drug use that society doesn't agree with just yet. So get Sod off my screen anyway. I don't want to see him anymore for a while. But yeah, keeping people safe. Well done, Gardaí. You're really keeping people safe. Mustawa says, how can a judge tell a judge of all people see logic in convicting drug users and letting an assault go unpunished? Yep. Others out there, Pod 85, yo, Mackie, what's going on? What's happening, Mackie? I see High and Homegrown's out there as well. An article that really is bad news. Let's get tennis. What the fuck is this judge? Add him to the list of state officials to be tried in court for failing their duties once this government is ousted. Yeah, get him on that list, alright. Sick bastard, didn't he let a paedophile off the hook last time? Yeah, he's handed out some absurd sentences to some sick individuals over the last couple of years. One individual, I believe, he also resided over his case, was a guy who was outside of the home of a woman down in Youghal, with a shovel and a rope, and like he was threatening to kill and rape that woman and her daughter in their home, and he got caught by the cops outside, and like the dude got, I don't know, was it like 2.5 years or something off him? Sick, like, absolutely sick, like. These people should be locked up for a long time until we can figure out what's gone wrong in their head, like, because if they're outside a woman's house with a rope and a shovel and sending threatening messages like that, they certainly don't belong. Pics of Feed the Birds, Mackie. That's coming in from Mustawis. I actually, you just reminded me there, Mustawis about one. I actually got one there over the weekend. It was put up by Renan. Renan sent it to me, or put it up on his own Facebook. But I'll find it there now 1 second, and I'll pop it up on screen. It's a plant in the gutter. There it is up on screen there now. You have to wonder how this got to where it was. A little cannabis plant just growing up out of the gutter. This is somewhere in Cork City. This was taken by Ronan. I hope you don't mind me saying it, but you put it up on your Facebook, so I couldn't imagine you would. But a lovely little plant, and it's just starting to flower too. Like if you can, I don't know if you can see it on there, like, but like that's a little flower there, top center. You can see the few pistils coming out there. So yeah, that looks like it's just starting to flower, and it should be too. Sure, it's that time of year. Diamond in the dirt type. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, right? True green gem. But yeah, the feed the birds going strong anyway around Ireland, it seems. Birds are doing their job. So nice one there for getting that photo up online, Ronan. Yeah, a nice one for reminding me there as well, must always. I had that in my lineup, but I forgot to actually stick it into the Streamlabs. Someone else, what's that? Green tea. When you realise every judge on the bench was appointed by either Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, then it all makes sense. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Green tea, and I certainly don't disagree. Paul Effick says someone else had €10 fine for one ecstasy, and someone else gets €250 for a little blim. Yeah, it makes no sense. Whereas, in reality, if you get caught with €5 worth of cannabis, or if you get caught with €100 worth of cannabis, the likelihood is you're both going to get tried the same. You got caught with an illegal personal amount of drugs, and you're probably going to get fined, like what I did, about €400 potentially. And yeah, that's how they treat it. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you might as well just get caught with a few plants in your gaff. So like, because that's personal possession too. Fuck it, like just go for it. Like, if you have a 50 bag in your gaff, well, you're making the same argument really in court that it was personal possession. If you got 4 plants for your own use, it's personal possession. Like, albeit cultivation, still it's for your own personal use. Violation of your rights. Get up, stand up. Saturday 18th of September. Page 85, if you've the money, friends and places, you can get away with the murder in Ireland, unfortunately, because our system is so effed up. Yeah, you're probably right there, Page. Bit backwards. Anti-cannabis and pushing for poison vaccines on people. Skitana is saying, isn't there an independent body to review and monitor a judge's decision? There should be. John Roach saying, where's this growing? You have to get out there hunting. Stash and dash. Stashed a couple of months ago by a friendly activist, I'd say. I actually, John Roach saying, I actually got caught with 250s, and not one thing happened. I guarantee they smoked it. Well, if it happened within the last maybe 24 months, then don't expect them not to show up yet. The EPP and the process to get you your summons, like they get it you within 2.5 years. Like, sometimes it'd be a joke, like it really is. Ross Compton, Timothy Leary got 20 years for 2 joints back in the 70s and spent the first 18 months in solitary. Yeah, that's right. I can remember reading the story of Timothy Leary there. I couldn't believe some of the stuff that those people had to go through back at that time, but they were way before their time, in fairness. Like, if they had the internet maybe back then. Yeah, himself, Timothy Leary, there's so many others, Alan Watts, Terence McKenna. I love listening to those guys and their lectures. Great stuff. But we drive on anyway, guys, because another headline I want to bring up to you was an article that was featured in the Business Post. And it was written by a journalist by the name of Elaine Byrne, and there was contributors out there, including one of our very own, Green Tea. Green Tea was highlighting the suffering caused by the prohibition of cannabis out there, which sees patients having to grow their own cannabis because of the ineffective access that there is here in Ireland. So as I say, this article was behind a paywall. I'll just get it up on screen there just so you can see it. Where's it gone? There it is. So this was the article. This was up online. It says our conservative approach to medical cannabis is prolonging people's suffering, and as I say, it's behind a paywall. But luckily enough, Green Tea was kind enough to send me some screenshots of it. So I'll just read out the little piece there that Green Tea contributed to, And Greety, I hope you don't mind me saying that it was yourself, but like it doesn't give your name or anything within the article, so I don't imagine that there shouldn't be any real issues there. But some of the quotes in there include, I've been a carer now for 3 years without a day off, and I only started growing during the pandemic, and it's changed our lives. I live in €220 per week. I am so isolated now. Being a carer is hard enough, but being a carer who grows means never being able to have visitors or home help. I am so lonely. And then the journalist went on to say that the reader explained how growing cannabis was safer than buying bad quality products on the black market. It says the technique of cannabis cultivation is critical, and then it goes on to talk a little bit about the drying process and some of that as well. I think there's a bit of a misprint there, or a mix-up with the active ingredients. I think she's talking about CBD as being the one that causes paranoia, but obviously she meant THC there in their article. Well done, Greety, for getting out there and highlighting again, you know, the many victims out there of this prohibition and the need to change, the need to end the suffering. People are already out there growing this cannabis themselves. They're already out there getting it via the black market. The politicians really just want to get the finger out now and put the pen to paper, end this prohibition, remove cannabis from the Misuse of Drugs Act. It does not belong there. Schedule 1 drug means it has little to no medicinal value, but look, we all know that to be completely inaccurate when it comes to cannabis. And for that reason, and that reason alone, guys, I would class this law to be invalid. It's not based on any true science. You know, there is no evidence to support it any longer. So we all need to challenge these charges now together. The 18th of September, guys, it's another day to get out there and do it. I would hope maybe there might be some civil disobedience element added to it, but we'll see what we can do up there on Saturday. But I do have some plans of my own there throughout this week there as well, so do expect some live videos. I'll hope to catch up with Green Tea and have a chat there very soon as well, just so you can further explain to everybody out there, you know, just how much this prohibition has affected your lives, because I believe that quote there just doesn't explain it enough, although it is very powerful. So we drive on from there then, guys, because we go from highlighting how people suffer and are victims of the prohibition of drugs, but we also go on now to some of the people who benefit from it. And you think, who benefits from the war on drugs? You know, the criminals? Oh yeah. And also like our own state in certain regards. You know, Criminal Assets Bureau here, CAB. It says an aircraft owned by a cannabis dealer among items auctioned off by CAB. And this is the vehicle in question, one of these kind of gyrocopters or whatever it's called. Sicko, I had to go and find a picture of a lovely green one as well, because I'd imagine they were flying high in this thing. Yes, pun definitely intended. But yeah, like this is what goes on. CAB has seized like hundreds and thousands, like millions of euros actually worth of assets from criminals, which they claim to be the proceeds of crime, which they then go on to auction off then afterwards, and they get to use the proceeds, you know, for their own uses. I'd imagine, you know, it goes back into the Justice Department side of it. I don't believe any of the money from CAB actually goes back into the central coffers. Now again, fact check me on that one, I could be wrong. But I do believe that what CAB generate stays within the Justice Department. So you could see why they'd have a vested interest here when you look at the money that's been made over the years. They've made quite a bit over the years. They've seized, like in terms of bitcoins, they're talking about like in 1 year alone they seized over €60 million worth of Bitcoin. That's just in 1 year alone now, although the passwords to that Bitcoin is actually at the end of a fishing rod, so they're not going to get access to it. And I believe the guy who actually got caught with it is up for release very soon. He got sentenced to 5 years for possession of 500 plants, cannabis plants. So I do believe he's out. That was in 2017. I think he got sentenced to that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to catch up with him when he gets out of prison. Funny enough, it'll be interesting to hear what he has learned in there, because while he was in prison, he was actually doing a horticulture course as well. So he'll be coming out of prison like geared up to engage in an industry that he was once criminalised for. When it becomes legal, and it should become legal, guys. If we all continue our efforts here in Ireland, like after September 18th, like I hope we see as many people, like thousands. I hope we see multiple thousands show up on September 18th. But we have to continue our efforts then after that, keep the pressure on. Gino Kenny's bill is coming soon. Then we have the Citizens' Assembly after that. We really just have to keep the pressure on, because never before have we had such an opportunity to get the change that we need, and it's up to the people now to push for it. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see more of this kind of selling off of the assets of criminals who got it off of the back of our communities, and that money, could have went back into our communities to help support local sports clubs, different local social enterprise projects and stuff like that, so yeah, we really do need to change it. Like in other stories out there as well, when I went digging into this, there was, I was kind of like, what other assets have they seized from like people who consumed cannabis over the years? And this was another article that came up. It was an article of a Dutch drug dealer. This was back in the year 2000, back when we had the powerful punt, the good old days of the pound. But a Dutch drug dealer lost his mansion when he was caught up with in an international drug smuggling ring or something like that. He was importing, says here, heroin, ecstasy, and hashish into Ireland. Hashish, that'll tell you how old this article is. Like, it's not even cannabis. Like, there actually is hashish within it. They say, yeah, when he got arrested anyway, he was caught over in Holland. But the CAB here then kind of muscled in, took all his property. Included in that then was this lovely property here, which included a big estate, like I think it was like 20 acres of land, which had a tennis court, and you can see over here to the right of the picture there's an outdoor swimming pool which looks fucking fantabulous, and to the back of the mansion then as well, they've tennis courts and other properties there as well. Absolutely amazing. This was worth £300,000 at the time when this guy bought it back in 1991. When the CAB seized it off him, they went on and they sold it. They sold it to some property developer. He bought it for a cool £1 million. So this is kind of the war on drugs in effect. How the state benefit from it. This is how they cash back in now the money that they spend in fighting these criminals. And they get to give these properties now to maybe their buddies, I don't know, is this property developer Sean Wise? Maybe he was like a buddy of some of the guys in the old CAB or something. I don't know. These guys all like to rub elbows with one another because, they're all from cutting the same cloth maybe. But yeah, some things never change really, do they? Unless the people push for it, guys. Never before have we had such... a movement of people campaigning for change here in Ireland, particularly for cannabis reform. Cannabis Reform Ireland. We've got a very strong movement now, and we can really bring an end to this kind of stuff. And see, people who set up grows and sell cannabis within our community actually being pillars of the community, instead of being tarnished in the media as being some sort of drug dealer who needs to have all his assets stripped of him and all his hard work, not remembered. So we drive on from there, guys, and the next headline is a Green New Deal. This was the piece that was done by the Uplift Ireland. So Uplift Ireland are people-powered change is kind of their motto. But they vote on different initiatives that their organisation will support, and they had an overwhelming support for the cannabis legalisation and looking into it, and that was about the start of the pandemic, I believe, just over almost 2 years ago, I suppose. They were putting out the funding for this and this study. And now they've released it, so they've the full report is up online. So if anybody wants to go and look at this, the full report is up there. Cannabis and Sustainable Development, examining the social, environmental and economic opportunities presented by changing the legal status of cannabis in Ireland. So it is. It's a great piece of work. In fairness, it's well worth a look if anybody wants to go over and have a look of it. There's a good lash of pages of it there, but if you go over onto their website here, they have 5 main takeaways from it here. And it says, number 1, cannabis has huge medicinal benefits in many treatments, including pain relief, epilepsy and stress. Legalizing cannabis creates community wealth, meaning rather than being punished or imprisoned, people who grow the plant are empowered to build enterprise and expertise. Again, just like I said, pillars within the community instead of criminals within the community. 3, cannabis plants clean our air by sucking up carbon. Something we badly need in this time of climate crisis. Yes, certainly. It says 4, cannabis provides secure income for small farmers struggling to make ends meet. Yes, it does. It certainly does. And never at the time have we needed such a shift now for these environmentally kind of friendly types of farming. And 5, cannabis can create more local wealth that can be put towards mental health services. Yes, mental health services, incredibly underfunded in Ireland, but also libraries, new roads, and improving our education system. And it says, while things are moving in the right direction, some politicians are still on the fence or completely on the other side of the fence, Frank Fian. But together we can convince them that if we raise our voices loud enough, and yes, I agree with them there, they're calling for people to join thousands of others in signing a petition and to sign up to speak to your local TDs as well about the report, but also just add in there, because these guys probably didn't know about it. Saturday, 18th of September, guys, 2 p.m, get out there, the streets of Dublin, and support the protest. If you can, guys, make your best effort. And if you're here in Cork, we're today, Monday, guys, if you get in touch with me before Wednesday, and if there's enough interest here in Cork, we'll do our best to organise a bus from Cork up to Dublin. So if there's enough interest from people here in Cork and they want to travel by bus together, if you're out there and you're worried about travelling alone, get in touch and we can organise something. I'm intending to travel by train myself, guys. So if people want to travel by train with me, if we don't get the numbers for the bus, just get in touch with me. I'm going to be organising that, but again, that's Saturday morning. We'll be leaving by train, but it'll be great if we could organise a bus if there's enough interest there as well. So do get in touch with me if you can, and we'll get that organised. If not, we'll see everybody above in Dublin. And we drive on then, guys, from Ireland, and we head across to the States. The States where we get all our good news. I hate that, like, but I suppose there was some good news there, actually. Within the show, you know, seeing the benefits there of CBD for young Joshua, you know, while it might have brought a tear to some people's eyes, I know it did to me anyway, it was certainly good, a very positive thing to see. But we need to see more of that. And Mustawis as well, legend, getting in the old chat there earlier, said Judge Saad and Martin Nolan are twisted in the head. And getting an old 420 as well in there as legend. Thanks very much for that, Mustawis, and definitely twisted in the head. That's putting it politely, pal. But we drive on to the States, as I say, where we get good news, where a new study done by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, N-I-D-A, they found that in a study comparing to past studies that college students have reported a record high cannabis use and a record low in drinking in a 2020 study. Now, obviously, you know, taking into consideration the pandemic and all of that, that probably explains why there is a reduction in the amount of people drinking. But again, like, you know, if you have to contribute it to the increase in the people using cannabis, then maybe you could look at the benefits there of, you know, if people are switching from, you know, alcohol to cannabis, then that is definitely a positive thing when you look at some of the states that students can get into, and when you engage in a bit of too much drinking, but yeah, compare that to the conditions they might get into smoking, you know, or consuming edibles or whatever. You know, it's just like, all right, they might make a bit of a fool of themselves by eating too many Cheetos or something like that, or having a bit of, I don't know, a bit of a paranoia bang. But there's not going to get into as anywhere near as much trouble as people drinking, so I can only see that as being a good thing. Also, interestingly, as well, as the study found an increase in the use of psychedelics as well amongst college students. And before we move on, actually, and that just shout out to the Azores and elsewhere there where you're celebrating 420 there just 1 minute ago. But yeah, the use of psychedelics has also increased. So there's only been small movements of it, like the amount of cannabis use has gone up by only like 4 or 6%, sorry. The amount of drinking went down by also 6%, but the psychedelic use went up by 3%. It went from 6% the previous year to 9% that year. And you have to wonder, is that attributed to the, I don't know, I would describe it, it's been described as a psychedelic renaissance that's going on out there at the moment, where people are rediscovering something that we might have kind of forgotten, I suppose, in some regards in the past, as to the use of some of these some substances, i.e. psilocybin mushrooms. And people are going back now to use them for all sorts of things, to deal with depression, to handle addiction, to deal with other sorts of traumatic kind of maybe experiences in their past. So yeah, that's very interesting to see, and a positive thing there as well. I would say anyway, I'd like to see that trend continue. But also, as we covered here last week in the show, there is a changing of laws over in the US as well, which is going to increase the amount of research there to back up this psychedelic use too. So again, very positive stuff over there in America to see. Again, the benefits there of using cannabis over alcohol, to me anyway, I think it's incredible. Well, I am a bit biased. I will put that up there. Disclaimer: I'm incredibly biased towards cannabis. You'd have to be living under a rock though to know that. To not know that. And we go from there to another more positive story over in America. We're in California. California, the lawmakers are after sending forward a bill to the government there to approve cannabis use within the hospital environments. Yeah, up until now over in California and across America, I'd imagine the administration of cannabis to patients has not been possible because it's federally illegal still. So despite what state laws might allow, still in America, the hospitals, I believe, all operate under federal law. So it'll be interesting now to see what this state law will do. I could be wrong in that. Maybe they don't operate under federal law, but that's kind of how I'm perceiving it here anyway. And this bill then being introduced should allow Californian hospitals to allow patients access and to be administered cannabis medicines over there. So again, very positive things. Hopefully that goes forward. I know the governor in question here, Newsom, I believe it is, he's in a bit of hot water at the moment because of the whole mask stuff going on over there. He was telling people not to wear masks, and then or to wear masks, and then he was caught not wearing a mask himself or something like that. So that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, like that. It's after being sent forward to him. I know he's caught up with this, but hopefully maybe this is an opportunity for him to kind of look, I'm doing something good. I'm going to sign off in this bill now, and I'm going to help patients. Forget about my other feck ups, please. So fingers crossed, because this is definitely paving the way forwards to a better future for all. And we drive on from that story then, guys, to another positive one in America, where Treasure Coast hemp growers say that the miracle plant, cannabis, is going to bring back American farming. Powerful thing there to be said by this farmer over there, who basically is claiming that cannabis is going to be the crop that brings Florida farmers back to Florida again. Just trying to find the article there now. Where is he gone? Might have lost him. I'll find him there now again. Boom. Oh, there we go. Sorry guys, my bad there now. I lost that article. because it had a video attached to it. Oh no, I didn't lose it. It was feckin' there. I just didn't see it. There it is. I'll pop it up on screen there now for you to see this. This has a little video attached to it here. This is a video of the local Florida cannabis farmer, and he's gonna tell you a little bit about his crap.
Carlos Hayden, a local Vero Beach farmer here, doing licensed industrial hemp for Florida, and currently partnered with the University of Florida for hemp production. Right here we have the Maverick, and we've been harvesting her this week, and we're really blessed to be able to do this here in Florida and here right at home. Born and raised, and really excited to share what we have here on the field with the public. Some benefits that we see here in the fields are the resin production, and
I'll turn this up actually.
And different
Sorry,
aromas
guys.
and flavonoids that are being produced on these plants. Some of the cool things that I've noticed with these plants is uniformity, resistance, and the flavor profiles that are coming off the buds. I found for myself that I've been able to find relief with the hemp, for my body in regards to a little bit of pain in centralized areas like my back or my knees or my hands, and I find it to be relief.
Oh, that's balls. There's no volume you're saying there, guys. 1 sec. Let me bump that up a little bit more, and we'll go back to here.
Excited to share what we have here on the field with the public. Some benefits that we see here in the fields are the resin production and the terpenes.
How's that?
Different aromas and flavonoids that are being produced on these plants. Some of the cool things that I've noticed with these plants is uniformity, resistance, and the flavor profiles that are coming off the buds. I found for myself that I've been able to find relief with the hemp, for my body in regards to a little bit of pain in centralized areas like my back or my knees or my hands, and I find it to be relieving when I use CBD. Well, I think first off it's a miracle plant. Why? Because it holds all the essentials that we need. It has aminos. That's one. Protein, enzymes. This plant is offering a lot of benefits from cannabinoids, terpenes, and to describe a little bit of that is, we have an endocannabinoid system. Every mammal has one, and the endocannabinoid system consists of CB1 and CB2 receptors. And this plant offers cannabinoids and terpenes to feed those receptors, and so that's what makes this real special, because when you're able to balance out, whether it's your physical or mental deficiencies with something that's able to be grown from the ground, that's really essential and special for us to be able to consume. Hoping to turn this 30,000 acre plantation into hemp one day. That would be the goal. I'd love to also be into the cannabis market and be able to also share another crop with the public, as that shares a lot of the same benefits. This is the future of medicine, and we really need it.
So there you go, guys. I'm gonna just quickly turn down my own volume here now before I get deafened in a sec. So apologies there for the issues with the volume on that video initially. Didn't realize it was going to be so low. But yeah, great to see there, but wouldn't that be great to see our own farmers here in Ireland being able to grow this crop, and to be able to grow the same varieties being grown here by this individual. They're able to grow plants that have much better terpene profiles than the plants currently being allowed to grow in Ireland. They're actually allowed to work with the whole plant once they harvest it over there in Florida as well. This is what he's saying about the changing policies now in Florida, bringing farmers back, because within the article, and you can head over and check this out, it's Treasure Coast Hemp Grower says miracle plant is going to bring back American farming. But within it, they talk about the guys coming from California and Colorado and moving back over to Florida now because they changed their policies. And imagine what we could do here in Ireland if we were to change our policies. We've had a lot of people leave the country over the last couple of years. Wouldn't it be great to be able to open up the door to an industry that was going to create so many more jobs, and to hopefully just to allow Ireland to be a bit more productive, and maybe attract back some of those people that have left the country. You know, people like my own family. I've had my sister leave the country, and now I have, you know, young nieces and nephews outside in Australia that I barely get to see as a result of shitty bloody economic policies in the past. You know. Wouldn't it have been great if at the time of the recession they just like listened and just went, hey, we're going to legalise cannabis and that's going to sort out our recession problems for a little while maybe. Wouldn't that have been a fucking better thing than what we actually faced? All the hundreds of suicides because of the pressure put on by banks and all of that nonsense. Oh man, backwards. But yeah, hopefully we do see a change in the laws here soon in Ireland, so our farmers can grow, much like the farmers are able to grow now over there in Florida. They're handing out lots of licenses there as well, which is incredibly beneficial. The licenses are not as restrictive as long as the plants don't go above 0.3% THC. Then there's no issue there with the policymakers, the regulators, as to what varieties they're growing. It's down to the farmer really to control it and make sure that the cannabinoids are within the specified limits. And finally, guys, the final headline I want to get to you is that it's another article that's out there. Oops, pop that down. A legal and regulated heroin market could have saved my friend from overdosing. And this is an article that was put up there by Rebecca Tidy, who I follow there over on Twitter. But Rebecca put it up there. I'm just trying to find it there now again. I'm terrible. There it is. So this is an article that's up there on what's the opinion on the essential daily briefing. So you can have a look at that there if you want to go over and have a read off of that. I would really suggest that you do, if you're anyway at all on the fence as to why heroin should be legal and regulated and provided to people who suffer with addiction out there, then definitely get over there and have a read off of this, because it's an incredibly well written piece. It brings into account the recent passing also of the star of the Wire, Michael K. Williams. He passed away there recently. It's not yet been announced whether his death was overdose related or drug related, but it was said by the police at the time that there was drug paraphernalia at the scene of his death. So people are assuming now that there is overdose attached there, but there's that's just a small part of the story. But she goes on to talk about how a friend of hers died of overdose, and how she believes that if heroin had been regulated, this person wouldn't have died, as he died as a result of a dodgy supply. That's the wording of Rebecca there. Where this individual was buying from the same importer for 2 decades, she said. So for 20 years, this individual was buying off of the same source, but sadly, she says, as it's an unregulated illicit marketplace, someone somewhere caught his heroin stash with too much of a lab-made synthetic opioid, which meant he died alone in his flat at the age of 34. And sadly, that's the story of many other people out there, like her friend Daniel, and I don't know if that was his real name, as there's a little star there next to it. But that needn't be the case, and I agree with Rebecca. I believe at the headline here, a regulated heroin market would definitely save so many lives. So do get over and check that one out, guys. I'm not going to read it out any more than what I did. Definitely get over there. It's worth a click, and also on social media, it's worth a reshare as well. Get this further afield, because so many people don't understand what is meant by, legalizing and regulating the supply of heroin. They think, it's going to be everywhere and it's so scary, but this really puts it into perspective for people. I believe it's a good article anyway. It's well worth checking out. So that is it, guys. That is all of today's 420 news. Nice one, everybody, for tuning in. as I said at the start, guys, I do have to bounce in 5. I'm going to chill for 5. I have a bowl packed. I'll blaze one up, and I'll have to bounce then because we don't know what the traffic is like across the city, and I have to make sure I'm there for 6 this evening. But we'll hydrate. Green Tea, where's the blog? Martin can send you my Twitter, or Podge has it. And Green Tea saying, thanks Martin for mentioning the article. I can't go to the protest because I can't leave my husband for that long, but I'm doing my bit where I can. Thanks very much, Green Tea. When I'm there, I'll be speaking on the day, Green Tea, and I will make sure I'll give you a mention. I'll mention the fact that you can't attend because you are a carer for your husband, and the fact that you know, the prohibition of cannabis is causing so much unnecessary suffering on your family, and that should not be the case. Whose blog? I'm just trying to see where that blog is, that somebody was looking for the blog. Bob Marley says, it's Big Pharmacy that controls the government's decision. They know cannabis will take most of their pills off the market. Keep up the good work, brother. Nice one, Bob. I definitely think the two can coexist. I definitely think there's a percent of the population out there who are more than happy to go down and be getting their tramadol and other sorts of painkillers. But there's also another percent of the population who would like to be able to get their cannabis-based, or even just cannabis itself, the herb, as their form of medicine. And I think everybody should be entitled to their choice. Freedom of choice, basically, is what I see. And I definitely think that the two can coexist. But yeah, definitely, they're not going to be making as much money, for sure. You know, it's definitely going to take a big bite off of their profits. What's happening, Andrea? Andrea's out there in the audience as well. Welcome to the show. It's been a while there since I've seen you in the comments. Hi, Martin. I'm home just an hour late. Great to see the show live again. Yeah, it's great to see the name out there again. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, Andrea. Who else is out there? Jenna's in the audience as well. David Bridgman, nice one there for giving me the heads up on the audio, David. And Electric Sense, sure is a medical plant, they're saying. 100% agree with you there as well. It really is. And sometimes you can seem like a little bit of a loon bag when you're talking about it, like, and it's like, because it can do this and it can do that and it can do this and it can do that, and it's just like, surely there's no plant can do all of this, like, and people just think that you're just lying to them, but really, like, yeah, you can build houses out of it. One of the stories I actually meant to get up to you this evening, actually, and I just didn't make it. I couldn't really fit it in, but feck it, look, while I have a few seconds there, I'll pop it up on screen to bring it to your attention anyway. There was cannabis could be used to make cushions after research by the Scottish scientists. They found that hemp can be the future. Do you know, basically that it can replace the polyethylene kind of stuff that they use within the polyurethane stuff that they use within the fabric of the cushions in your sofa and stuff like that. You know, so it's really bringing a new meaning to the whole couch lock effect of cannabis, if you get me. You know what I mean? It's not only going to send you to the couch when you consume it, but when you're sitting on the couch, it's going to be so soft and cozy that you're never going to want to get up off of it. And it's going to be good for the environment too, because it's biodegradable, unlike some of the other stuff that couches are made off of. Jesus, remember the black smoke that comes off of those couches on Bonnet Night throughout the years as a young fella burning them, and that foam stuff within the cushions, like, it just would go, and a big cloud of black smoke go with it. Like, imagine all the nastiness inside of it. Like, should those hemp couches just be made of hemp? I'm sure it wouldn't mean as bad as smoke. Definitely wouldn't have got you high though. That's the thing. But yeah, I'll pop that back up on screen one more time so you can see it if you want to go give it a read. Russell Banta might be interested in this one himself, being the old materials expert out there, the chemistry materials expert, or resident doctor, Dr. Banta. But yeah, that's over on Daily Record if you want to read it. So blaze one up anyway, guys, because we're going to have to run. one but 2 classes to teach this evening. Great crack. Look forward to it. Can't wait. Stoner Dan's in the audience. What's happening, Stoner Dan? Just about to say goodbye, Stoner Dan. So welcome and goodbye. um, Electric Science can't make 10 Saturdays protest because of work, but we'll make sure to be at the next one. And as well, Electric Science, maybe in your spare time, you might be able to contact some local media. Just send in a little opinion piece as to why you support the protest and what's going on. Just a little piece that you could maybe do if you get the time at all. If you're all good at writing, a little paragraph even, I support cannabis legalization, just attaching even the link to that video there that I put up a while ago, because of the suffering it causes when people don't have access to it. That could be a good one. But that's just one way people can kind of help this protest if you can't, get off at work or something like that. Maybe when you get home from work and you're unwinding a little bit, you might be able to just kind of type up a little email and bang it off to your local media. Just one little way people can help, and as well just share the hell out of the different posts that are on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the other places as well, because we need to get the word out there fair and wide about this event as well. It's short notice, so all hands on deck for that one. Yeah, Lego as well. Yeah, Lego are switching over to the old hemp. Yeah, I seen that one as well. That should have made the news as well, but yeah, I should have got it in there. That's kind of a good one, but it's not till 2030. They've been talking about it for a while now, but they say is that like by 2030, all Lego will be made by hemp. So happy days, go on to cannabis. Virgin drilled into everyone's cavity walls and insulation all over the place with it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they should have been using the hemp insulation. That would have made a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Really, in years to come, when these buildings, and they're failing and all of that kind of stuff, maybe, and all of that nasty shit has to be dealt with. Wouldn't have been great if it could have been hemp and biodegradable. But yeah. Right, guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you because I gotta go down and show some love to the Thai boxing community now this evening, and I'll be back again on Wednesday, guys, with more 420 news. So until then, guys, stay blazed and keep her lit. Much love. Peace.